We got to give praise to Yah, no matter what. No matter the circumstance. It's a lot of stuff that'll keep you below wanting to praise level. I say that. But you got to praise him in spite of, because you hear in spite of. You was doing wrong. He ain't in you. You know what I'm saying? So your praise got to be in spite of. Hallelujah. Without further ado, brother QOB,
6-foot giant,
the mellow one. This one, the man of the hour, the teacher and the speaker, the brother that weighs in at 12 stones.
We've been eating right, so about 11 and a half stones now.
11 and a half stones. He dropped a half a stone. Stone. Come on. Charge.
That's my new intro.
Let's see this go to Hollywood.
All right, let's get
it. And it said go. Go.
Yo. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. How y'all feeling? Good to see y'all again. Good to sit in the seat again. So we're gonna get into some word. We gotta go back through the basics, but we're gonna get to the intricacies of it.
Some Wade.
So we're gonna see that Yah's law, his commandments, are under attack, right? So we're going to see some things. Let's get Exodus chapter 20. Pick it up at verse 2. Matter of fact, pick it up at 1.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 1. And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah your Elohim, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me.
You shall do what?
You shall have no other gods before me.
Read.
You shall not make unto you any carved image or any likeness of anything that is in Shamayim above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters under the earth. You shall not bow down to them nor serve them. For Yahuwah your Elohim is a jealous Elohim.
He's what?
A jealous Elohim.
What does that mean, he's jealous? Say that again? Right.
He don't share.
He don't do what? Read. He don't share. He don't like anybody getting what's his. Read.
Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, and showing kindness unto thousands of them that love me and guard my commandments.
And do what?
And guard my commandments.
So right here he says to, in the regular text it says to keep the commandments, but what is it really saying right here? To do what?
To guard.
To guard. So when he says to guard, what comes to y'all's mind? To do what? To protect it. So with these commandments, are you guarding them? Are you protecting them? This is not rhetorical. I'm asking you directly. Are you guarding them? So we got it's an image that should come to mind when we are listening at this. Get me 2 Kings 11 and verse 4.
2 Kings chapter 11. beginning at verse 4.
So y'all know the story of Athaliah, right? Nobody don't remember that?
He went through it.
All right, go ahead, read.
In the 7th year of Jehoiada, sent and fetched the rulers over hundreds with the captains and the guard, and brought them to him into the house of Yahuwah, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath of them in the house of Yahuwah, and showed them the king's son. And he commanded them, saying, This is the thing that you shall do. A third part of you that enter in on a Sabbath shall even be keepers of the watch of the king's house. And the third part shall be at the gate of Shur, and a third part at the gate behind the guard. So shall you keep the watch of the house, that it be not broken down.
Go ahead.
And 2 parts of you all that go forth on the Sabbath, even they shall keep the watch of the house of Yahuwah about the king. And you shall compass the king round about.
You shall do what?
Compass the king round about.
What does that mean, to compass the king round about?
Circle him in.
They want you to surround the king. Read.
Every man with his weapon in his hand.
With his what?
With his weapon in his hand.
So I want y'all to picture the king with people all around him. And they got what in their hands?
Weapons.
They got weapons in their hand. Read.
He that come within the ranges, let him be slain.
Let him be what?
Let him be slain.
So if anybody get within arm's reach of the king, they should be what?
Killed.
Killed. What are they doing with this boy? Are we doing that with Yah's law? Are we doing that? Are we guarding it in that way? Because that's what it's getting at. Read that last verse again.
And you shall compass the king round about, every man with his weapon in his hand, and he that come within the ranges. Weapon in his hand. And he that come within the ranges, let him be slain. And he that come within the ranges, and be with the king as he go forth.
Wait.
And come in. In.
So he's giving us a picture of the way that we should be guarding this boy, but take the boy out and put the commandments in there. Genesis chapter 2, verse 24.
Genesis chapter 2 at verse 24. Genesis chapter 2 at verse 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked.
My bad. Genesis 3:24.
Genesis chapter 3 at verse 24. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword which turned every way.
To do what?
To guard the way.
To do what?
To guard the way.
Read.
Of the tree of life.
So what is he doing with the tree of life right here?
Guarding.
It is being guarded. It is being, security is all around it. So when the president comes to town and they acting like somebody might want to hurt the president, what do they do with him with the Secret Service? They're surrounding him. They're guarding him and making sure that nobody can get into it. Yah is telling us to do that with his law.
Yeah.
Why would Yah tell us to do that with his law?
People going to be trying to get to it and destroy it.
People going to be what?
Trying to get to it and destroy it.
People are going to try to come against the commandments and destroy it. So there's a sin that's going to be promoted. It already is in the end times. It's going to be pushed to the masses. It's already being done right now. So when we see Steph and LeBron and Kawhi and whoever else win the championship and they sitting there with the trophy in their hand, the people don't say, Who made that? What is it made from? Who carved the images on the sides of it? They asked him, how did you do it? Right? What did it take for y'all to get this championship? But nobody is looking at the fact of what they holding in their hand. They just want to know how they got it, right? So there's something that everybody's afraid of in the end times, my bad. What is everybody afraid of at the end? Before death. What is it? Getting the mark of the beast, right? Every couple of whatever it is, years, decades or something new comes into the front of people's mind. So when the Social Security came, they said that, oh my God, that is the mark of the beast, right? When the debit card came, they said this is it, because see, you can't buy and sell without it. Then they said it was a RFID chip, right? You're going to get it in your hand. And latest, they said it was what? It was the jab, the shot. If you get this shot, you got the mark of the beast. You better not take this shot. Or if you got it, so it shouldn't be so much important on what it is, but you should be focused on how you get it. Let that sink in. Stop worrying about what it is, but how to get it or not to get it. So we're going to see some stuff. We're going to learn about the north and all of these different things and how this thing actually works. Get me Revelation chapter 9 and verse 20.
Revelation chapter 9, verse 20.
Remember, he wants you to guard the commandments. Read.
And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands.
What?
Repented not of the works of their hands.
What does it mean, the works of their hands? Things that what? Things that they're doing, but what are they doing?
Things that they're making. They're creating something.
They are doing something with their hands. They making idols. Read.
They repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship the devil, and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, neither can see nor hear.
So what is this sin that's all the way in the end that's going to be prominent?
Idolatry.
Idols, idolatry. Jeremiah 10 and 3. So y'all gonna hear some new stuff that you probably ain't heard before. And I know once you've been enthralled in camp doctrine, it's gonna be hard for your mind to receive. Go ahead, read.
Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 3. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cut a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with an axe. They deck the Christmas tree with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not.
But what?
But speak not.
So this thing that he's speaking about, it doesn't speak. It has mouth, eyes, nose, ears, the whole nine, but it can't speak. Read.
They must be born.
They must be what?
They must be born.
So somebody has to carry it. Even though it has legs and feet, it can't move. somebody has to carry it. Read.
because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them.
Be what?
Be not afraid of them.
He's telling you don't be afraid of the thing that you made with your own hands. Or you might have just bought it. He's telling you don't be afraid of it. Why not be afraid of it?
For they cannot do evil.
Because they what?
They cannot do evil.
Because it's simply just a bunch of wood or metal or stone. It can do nothing to you. Read.
Neither also is it in them to do good.
Is it what?
Neither is it also in them to do good.
So this piece of thing cannot do nothing. It can't do good or it can't do evil. It need to be carried. It need to be clean. Whatever it takes, it's worthless. It's nothing. What verse you at?
That's verse, that was verse 5, verse 6.
Go ahead.
For as much as there is none like unto you, O Yahuwah, you are great. Your name is great in might. Who would not fear you, O King of nations? For to you do it appertain.
Jump down to 5.
Verse 5.
Yep.
They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be carried, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good.
Verse 8.
Verse 8. But they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is the doctrine of vanities.
It is what?
The doctrine of vanities.
The doctrine of vanities, nothingness. Read.
Silver spread into plates is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Euphaz, the work of the workman, and of the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. They are all the work of cunning men.
So they had on royal clothing. Read.
But Yahuwah is the true Elohim. He is the living Elohim, an everlasting King. At his wrath the earth shall tremble, and the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation.
What verse you at?
That was verse 10.
Read.
Thus shall you say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, even they shall perish from the earth.
They shall what?
Perish from the earth.
They're going to perish from the earth. Deuteronomy 7:25.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 25. The graven images of their gods shall you burn with fire.
So you do what?
Burn with fire.
Read.
You shall not desire the silver or gold that is on them.
So what if you took the idol and says, I'm not going to worship it, but that's silver and gold. I can melt that down and take it to the pawn shop. What would you have done? You would have did what? You would have broke the law, because he told you directly to do what to it? Destroy it, to burn it. But in our minds, we'll come up with a rational way to get around what he said. And I'm gonna melt it down, and then I'm gonna take the money and give it to the poor. Would that be okay? No, because he told you to do what?
The graven images of their gods shall you burn with fire. You shall not desire the silver or the gold that is on them.
So what will happen in man's heart? It'll make him go against what Yah just told him not to do. So we're going to see how this thing works. Psalms 115, verse 1.
Let me finish this up. You shall not desire the silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto you, lest you be snared therein. For it is an abomination to Yahuwah, your Elohim. What? It is an abomination to Yahuwah, your Elohim.
So he's telling you, when I say do something, I really mean do it. Don't come with something of your own heart and think that you're going to switch it up because you think you're doing something that's going to be right to you. Yeah.
Neither shall you bring that abomination into your house, lest you be a cursed thing like it.
Lest you be what?
Lest you be a cursed thing like it.
So Again, just think of it in your own mind right now. If you found it and you, dang, this thing heavier than a mug. This got to be real gold. What would you most likely try to do?
Sell it.
Sell it and get something out of it. If you do that, you directly just violated his commandment. And you can't give it to nobody else because you causing it to be a snare to them.
You shall utterly detest it. You shall utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing.
It is what?
A cursed thing.
Is it a cursed thing? Hold on to what we're going over, because you're going to see how it's going to play out at the end. Psalms 115, verse 1.
Psalms 115 at verse 1. Not unto us, O Yahuwah, not unto us, but unto your name give esteem, for your mercy and for your truth's sake. Wherefore should the Shamaim say, where is now their Elohim?
Where is now what?
Their Elohim.
Read.
But our Elohim is in Shamaim.
Where is he at?
In Shamaim.
He's in the Shamaim. Read.
He hath done whatsoever he hath pleased. Their idols are silver and gold.
Is what?
Their idols are silver and gold.
So he says that our Elohim is in the Shamaim, right? So now, the camps say, well, the Christian church, they made a white image, and they made all of us worship that white image. So we're going to combat it. We're going to put up the Kimbo Slice one and say, this is him. What's wrong with that? It's still what? It's still idolatry.
See, brother, you can't have idolatry if it's black, brother. Black is beautiful, brother. We ain't worshiping this, brother, because it's black. You can't worship black.
But Yah told us directly, don't do what?
Don't make it.
Do not make it. He said, you didn't see me. You have no idea how I look. Don't make nothing to represent me.
Hallelujah.
So these people on both sides is in error. And Israel calls itself doing what is right, but doing wrong. Because we're going to combat it. We're going to make our own image of them. Read on.
They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not.
They got everything that a man got carved onto them. But they can't hear, they can't see, they can't walk, they can't touch, they can't do nothing. Read.
They have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. Neither speak they through their throat. They that make them are like unto them.
They that do what?
They that make them are like unto them.
So the person that makes it is just like unto them. This thing is a dummy. Yaron said, you hard-headed like a wooden dummy. Right? This is what this thing is. It's a dummy. It doesn't know anything. It has no feelings, no emotions, nothing, but you still do it. Read.
O Israel, trust you in Yahuwah. He is their help and their shield. O house of Aharon, trust in Yahuwah.
Do what?
Trust in Yahuwah.
Trust in Yah. Read.
He is their help and their shield. You that fear Yahuwah, trust in Yahuwah.
Do what?
Trust in Yahuwah.
Trust in Yahuwah, not these things. So we're gonna get to it in a minute and see how it all play in. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 4. This is gonna be something else that's gonna be hard for people to grasp. Yeah. 2 and 4.
2 Thessalonians chapter 2, beginning at verse 4. Who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worship, so that he, as Elohim, sit in the temple of Elohim.
Sits in where?
In the temple of Elohim.
Sits in the temple of Yah. Read.
Showing himself that he is Elohim.
So, to y'all understanding, what does this mean when it says that this person is sitting in the temple of Yah, showing himself that he is Yah? What does this mean? It's no trick. That is the common thought and mind frame. Okay.
Talk about him being a human in the body of the temple, is him proclaiming himself as God on earth, like a man saying, "I'm God."
He's definitely going to do that. But the consensus mostly is what Zach just said. So most of the world is waiting on a third temple to be built. So when we see the third temple being built, we know that that's the time. But the adversary is way more clever than that. So somebody look that word up in that Thessalonians for me. The temple. What's the actual word there? Naos. So keep that in mind, that particular word. Give me Matthew chapter 21 and verse 12. Verse 12.
Matthew chapter 21 and 12. And Yeshua sent into the temple of Elohim.
Into the what?
Into the temple of Elohim.
Read that word, that temple right there. Is it the same word? It is not the same word. But in English, it appears as the same word. Read that verse again.
And Yeshua went into the temple of Elohim and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple.
So what temple is this that Mashiach is speaking of right here? He's speaking of the stone temple right here. Keep this in mind. This is the stone temple that he's speaking of. Matthew 24 and verse 1.
Matthew 24:1. And Yeshua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple.
So this is the stone temple that he's speaking about. The second word that Zach looked up, Mark 11 and 11.
Mark 11:11. And Yeshua entered into Jerusalem and into the temple. And when he had looked round about upon all things, and now evening tide was come.
What's that word there, Zach?
Temple.
The temple. Same word, right? Now get Revelation 15 and verse 5.
Revelation chapter 15 at verse 5. And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle.
Of the what?
The temple of the tabernacle.
What's that word, Zach? That's the first word, right, that we used in Thessalonians, right? This ain't talking about the stone temple. This is talking about something else. It's talking about, read that verse again, Trav.
The temple, I'm sorry. This is verse 5. And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in Shamaim was open.
So what did Moses pattern the tabernacle after? The temple in heaven. But the temple in heaven is actually it's a tabernacle, right? Think about the tabernacle. It's something that's movable. Hebrews. Read your verse one more time, Trev.
And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in Shamaim was open.
It was what?
It was open.
It was open. Get me Hebrews chapter 8, verse 5.
Hebrews 8:5. Who serve unto the example and the shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was admonished of Elohim when he was about to make the tabernacle.
When he was what?
About to make the tabernacle.
So did Moses make a stone temple, or did he make the tabernacle? Which one did Moses make?
Tabernacle.
He made a tabernacle. So somebody's going to sit in a tabernacle and not in a stone temple that we all waiting for, like you've been believing. Somebody's going to be sitting in a tabernacle claiming to be Yah, as opposed to waiting on a third temple to be built. Can y'all see this so far? It's going to be hard to grasp, I know. It's a physical tabernacle, but just like we had in the beginning.
So instead of it being like gold everywhere and this and that, like how the actual temple was made, it's going to be the joint that we seen in the wilderness, built of the stuff from
right
the ground and the trees and the, you know what I'm saying?
They used to packed it up and they carried it with them as they moved and put it back up.
Yeah.
Temporary joint.
So what Paul is conveying when he's talking about he sits in the temple of Elohim, everybody is thinking, oh, when the third temple is being built, but it's going beyond that. It's talking about something else, an actual tabernacle being built, and they're going to be in it. I believe personally it's the same one from all the way back then. But we're going to try to see something. Read that verse again, Art. Yeah.
I mean Hebrews?
Hebrews.
8 and 5. Hebrews 8 and 5. Who serve unto the example of the shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was admonished of Elohim when he was about to make the tabernacle.
When he was what?
About to make the tabernacle.
When he was about to make the tabernacles, we know that he patterned it after the heavenly tabernacle. In Revelations, what we just read, 15 and 5, it says the temple of the tabernacle. Moses patterned it after this, right? Give me Exodus 25.
Is this going to be something that's similar? It's going to be in the desert where he's saying,
Absolutely.
he over here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to see some stuff.
25.
Deuteronomy, wait a minute, hold on.
Exodus 25.
Exodus 25, verse 9.
Exodus 25:9. According to all that I show you, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall you make it.
So that same thing that it's talking about in Revelation 15:5, Moses made it after this. This is the tabernacle that it's talking about, not a temple made with stones. 1 Corinthians 3:16.
1 Corinthians chapter 3 at verse 16. Know you not that you are the temple of Elohim?
That you what?
That you are the temple of Elohim, and that the Ruach of Elohim dwell in you? If any man defile the temple of Elohim, him shall Elohim destroy.
So this is that same word, but it's talking about the body now. Our physical body in this temple, but it's the same word. Get 1 Corinthians 6 and verse 19.
1 Corinthians 6 and 19. What? Know you not that your body is the temple of the Ruach HaKodesh, which is in you, which you have of Elohim, and you are not your own.
And you what?
You are not your own.
Same thing. So let's get to the crux of this and get into the depths of what I'm trying to convey. Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 3.
Ezekiel 8:3. And he put forth the form of an hand, and took me by a lock of my head. And the Ruach lifted me up between the earth and Shamayim, and brought me in the visions of Elohim to Jerusalem.
To where?
To Jerusalem.
Read.
To the door of the inner gate that looked towards the north.
Toward what?
The north.
Toward the north. I want y'all to hold this direction in your mind. He says something about the north. So everything in this book is written for a reason. He mentions the north specifically for a reason. Read.
Where was the seat of the image of jealousy?
The what?
The seat of the image of jealousy.
So they're in the temple of Yah right here, right? And what does he see in the north?
The seat of the image of jealousy.
So he sees an image that's causing him to be what?
Jealous.
Jealous. But where is this image at?
It says it.
But this is talking about the earthly.
And brought me in the visions of Elohim to Jerusalem, to the door of the inner gate that looked towards the north. Where was the seat of the image of jealousy?
So we have the seat and the image of jealousy. Keep in mind, we have an image right here in Ezekiel, right? Ezekiel, we got an image and it has a seat. What does the seat signify? Rulership, kingdom. But it's in Yah's place, and it is an abomination to him. What you got out real quick? It absolutely shows rulership. But this is in Jerusalem. This is in Yah's own house. This is in his own house right now. So we have an image of the seat of jealousy. Chapter 9, verse 4. Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4.
Ezekiel 9:4. And Yahuwah said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh.
And do what?
That sigh. Set a mark upon the forehead of the men that sigh.
So we see the word mark. We have an image in chapter 8. Now we have a mark, which is Yah's mark here, right? So if you don't get Yah's mark, what do you have? You have what? You would have the mark of the beast. We're going to bring it all together. Read that again, Ak.
This is verse 4. And Yahuwah said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry.
And do what?
That set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry, for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
And the what?
That for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
So we have the image in chapter 8 that causes jealousy, and then we have Yah's mark being issued in the next chapter. All gonna make sense. Get me Revelation chapter 13. Pick it up at verse 14.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 14. And deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image.
They should do what?
That they should make an image.
So now we have an image. Read.
To the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship him, the image of the beast, should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark.
To do what?
To receive a mark.
So now we have the image and the mark. In Ezekiel, we got an image and we got a mark, right? We got to see how it all coincides. Image and the mark. But if you don't got Yah's mark, you automatically got his mark. But how do you get this mark? That's what we got to find out. Daniel chapter 3, verse 4.
Daniel chapter 3 at verse 4.
I want the wheels to turn. Read.
Then an herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations and languages, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the golden image.
You do what?
You fall down and worship the golden image.
Read.
That Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. And whoso fall not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace.
What verse you at?
That's the end of verse 6.
Okay, so we have, he says, when you hear all sorts of music, now we know that the Islamic worship is based on when you hear the music, but I want to stretch it beyond that. So we know that this is all nations, tongues, languages that's at this thing, right? So I want to stretch it to today's times. What if it was a giant concert that they had and it's all sorts of music being played, kind of like Coachella or something? And all your favorite artists is in the concert, whomever it is that you like, right? What do these people normally represent to us before we know better? They what? They idols to us, right? So your favorite is up there, and even if it's not a singer, but it's your favorite athlete that's there because they mix, right? The stars have their favorite, it all mixes, right? Because all ballers want to be rappers and all rappers want to be ballers, right? And they all singing. And you got the We Are the World type of concert going on. And they singing the songs and you crying and tearing up. Y'all think that might fool some people? Yeah. So at this time, all democracy will be dead. There will be no more, quote unquote, choice. Republicans and Democrats all will be on one accord. Now we got to go back to Ezekiel 8 and 3. Let's see where the image was at one more time.
Ezekiel chapter 8 verse 3. And he put forth the form of a hand and took me by a lock of my head. And the Ruach lifted me up between the earth and the heaven and brought me in the visions of Elohim to Jerusalem, to the door of the inner gate that looked towards the north, where was the seat of the image of jealousy.
Where was what?
The seat of the image of jealousy.
So where's this image of jealousy one more time? It's in the north. It's in the north part. What takes place in the north? We about to see. So we got to find out what takes place in the north. Leviticus chapter 1, verse 10. Yeah. Leviticus chapter 1, verse 10 and 11. Yeah.
Leviticus chapter 1 and verse 10. And if his offering be of the flocks, namely of the sheep, or the goats of the burnt sacrifice, he shall bring it male without blemish. And he shall kill it on the side of the altar, northward.
Where at?
Northward.
So where did the sacrifice take place at?
Northward.
So when you was to get your sins taken care of, where would it take place at?
In the north.
In the north. But in Ezekiel, he got something there. So where you would go to confess your sins at, he would switch it and have what there? He would have the image and the idol there. So instead of you going to Yah, you would be going to who?
To the idol.
You would be going to the idol. You would be going to the image of jealousy. So this is where this takes place at. Leviticus chapter 1, verse 10 and 11.
You said it take place. Clarify that. This say it's on the north side of the altar. So what takes place where?
The sacrifices are done in the north, in the temple, in the north part of it. It's all in the northward. We're going to see some stuff, and it's going to bring it all to you, to your understanding, as we continue. So the sacrifices and the confessions is done in the north of the temple. Get me Psalms 75, verse 6 and 7.
Psalm 75 and 6. For promotion come neither from the east.
From where?
From the east.
He said promotion comes neither from the east, read.
Nor from the west.
Read.
Nor from the south.
Nor from where?
The south.
So if it don't come from the east, the south, or the west, where would it come from?
The north.
Read it again.
For promotion come neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But Elohim is the judge. He put down one and set up another.
He do what?
He put down one and set up another.
So he puts down one and he sets up another. What does that mean? He put down one and set up another. All of the so-called kings, actually, he set them up. From Pharaoh's on out, he set them up. So he's letting you know, I'm the one behind this. But right here, he lets us know that promotion comes from the north. So the image is directly set up in the north. Right? So we got to see something. Get me 2 Samuel chapter 15, verse 1.
Second Samuel chapter 15 at verse 1. And it came to pass after this that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses and 50 men to run before him.
Who is Absalom a picture of?
Auntie.
Read.
And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate.
Of the where?
Of the gate.
Read.
And it was so that when any man that had a controversy came to the king for judgment.
Came to who?
The king for judgment.
Who is the king?
David.
David is the king. So who are they intending to come to?
David.
They are intending to come to David. Read. Read.
Then Absalom called unto him and said, Of what city are you? And he said, Your servant is of the one of the tribes of Israel. And Absalom said unto him, See, your matters are good and right, but there is no man deputed of the king to hear you. Absalom said, Moreover, Oh, that I were made judge in the land, that every man which hath a suit or cause might come to me, and I would do him justice And it was so that when men came near to him to do him obeisance, he put forth his hand and took him and kissed him. And on this manner did Absalom to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel.
He did what?
Stole the hearts of the men of Israel.
So these people were intending to come to David, but instead of getting David, they got what? They got Absalom. They come in directly to the king for this, but they get Absalom instead. 2 Samuel 18:18.
2 Samuel 18:18. Now Absalom in his lifetime had taken and reared up for himself a pillar.
He did what?
Taken and reared up for himself a pillar.
So what did Absalom just make of himself?
The idol.
He just made an idol of himself. We can clearly see that the people fell in love with him, right? So even though it don't talk about it, what do you think that they would be doing to his thing that he set up for himself?
Worship him, O Zion.
So he has stole the worship from David. He has intercepted it because he is at the gate receiving it for himself. Isaiah 14 verse 12.
Isaiah chapter 14.
Verse 12.
At verse 12. How are you fallen from Shamaim, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How are you cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into Shamaim. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim, and I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
And where?
In the sides of the north.
Wow. Why does he want to set it up in the sides of the north? Why not the east? Why not the west? Why not the south? It's the same place. He's setting it up. So when that tabernacle come, that thing going to be set up in the north. And the people going to think that they going to Yah, but they're going to be going to the enemy. And if you don't know the law, the commandments, what are you going to do? You're going to become an idolater. Just like it's being pushed in the world right now. You're going to become an idolater. So the sides of the north, this is where the blessings come from. He's trying to take it over and make you come to him instead. Daniel chapter 3, verse 1.
Daniel 3 and 1. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold, whose height was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits.
So what has Nebuchadnezzar just done?
Made an image, made an idol.
He's made an image. He has made an idol. So I wish we could have a time frame when Nebuchadnezzar did this. Read that verse one more time.
Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, whose height was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits.
So we got to find the time of when this actually transpired. Here, read that same verse out of the LXX, the Septuagint.
In the 18th year.
What year?
The 18th year.
So in the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, read.
The king made a golden image. Its height was 60 cubits, its breadth 6 cubits, and he set it up in the plain of Dura.
Where at?
The plain of Dura.
Okay.
In the province of Babylon.
So this is happening in the 18th year of his reign. Get me Jeremiah 52 verse 29.
Jeremiah chapter 52.
We about to see.
Jeremiah 52 and what'd you say, 29?
Yep, verse 29.
In the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, he carried away captive from Jerusalem 832 persons.
Read.
In the 23rd year of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive the Jews 745 persons, and all the persons were 4,600.
So all of this is taking place when the Israelites are carried into captivity into Babylon. This is when he set this image up. When the children of Israel get there, he's setting this whole thing up. Now go back to Daniel chapter 3. Pick it up at verse 1 again.
In the 18th year, Nebuchadnezzar king made an image of gold, whose height was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura, in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces.
All the what?
All the rulers of the provinces or the cities.
So what? I was about to say, what is provinces?
The cities.
Read.
To come to the dedication.
Come to what?
The dedication.
What's another word for dedication?
Hanukkah.
To come to Hanukkah. Read.
Of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the princes, the governors, captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the cities were gathered together unto the Hanukkah of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up.
So what's the significance of all these people that it just named?
They are the tops.
They
the big dogs.
They the influential people, the people that the people would follow. All of these people are a part of this thing. Read.
Then an herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king.
You do what?
That Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up.
That you fall down and worship it. Now, if you were at this image and you just fell down and worshiped it, what would you have just done? Somebody said
the first
it.
commandment.
Somebody actually said what it is.
Committed adultery.
You committed adultery, but if, say it be, you took the mark.
Got you.
If you did this right here, you got the mark. So it's not important to what it is, it's how you get it. And you have broken Yah's what? His commandments, which he told you to do what to it? To guard it, to protect it, to keep it, to don't let nobody get close to it. Don't break it. If you do this, you got it.
Right.
But what if you out there and you trick yourself in your mind? Well, I'm going to get on my knee, but I'm going to be saying Yah when I get down. Oh, Abba Yahuwah, even though I'm standing in front of that thing, I'm not talking about him, I'm talking about you. Y'all know somebody gonna do that, right? Attack on the commandments. He gonna make you break them. His law is gonna be public enemy number one. So look at the school system. What did they take out of school? They took the prayer out of it, right? At all the courthouses all around the country, they says, We got to get rid of them 10 commandments, but we can put the rest of this stuff up, right? We can put up that a man can be a woman and all this nonsense. And a lot of it going to come down to your own desire of where you end up at. Because in doing this, you're going to get quote unquote blessed. Y'all know Satan got the power to bless you, right? So when we normally think about getting a blessing, what comes to our mind? Money, right? So everything is based on this. So all them people said, I don't like Trump. But when he sent out that stimmy, what happened with the people? Say, dump all right with me.
My president is orange.
He's all right with me. You're going to fall off of your morals and what you're supposed to do. And a lot of people are going to do it out of fear. So if you don't get yourself right now, it's going to be too late to get right at that time. So if you don't make the decision right now that I'm not going to do this, it's going to be too late if you try to make it at that time. Read on, Ak.
This is verse 5. That at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up.
And I want y'all to remember this. Nebuchadnezzar was nice to Daniel and to Meshach and Abednego and them, right? Did not he promote them high in his cabinet? He was nice to them at first. He wasn't a madman in the beginning. He was very, very nice. And here, I'll give you a position in my cabinet. You can do this for me, and you can do this for me. Read.
And whoso fall not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Therefore at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and languages fell down and worshiped the golden image.
So this is everybody. This is somebody from the whole world at this image. All the provinces, this worldwide, are doing this. They all doing it in unison. What's better than unity, y'all?
So, wow, just a quick question. So, out of all these people, those 3 men was the only 3 that didn't worship the people?
This is the only ones that they're showing that didn't do it, but this is nothing new. Only 8 people made it through the flood. Only 3 people made it through Sodom and Gomorrah. So we got to remember, y'all don't worry about numbers. It's 75 people in here, so let's just split it down to half. He don't care about that. If you don't do what I tell you to do, this is what it is. This is why you got to know the commandments, because people is looking at the mark of the beast, but they don't know that you actually breaking his law to get it. Read where you left off at.
And whoso fall not down and worship, the same hour shall be cast in the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Therefore at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, the flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music.
And all kind of what?
And all kinds of music.
Your favorite singer singing, read.
All the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshiped the golden image.
They did what?
Fell down and worshiped the golden image.
They fell down and worshiped the golden image. If any of y'all felt peer pressure before, the last warrior game that I went to, and they stood up, and everybody in the arena, all 18,000, whatever it was in there, they stopped and then they said, now let's everybody stand for the national anthem. Place your hand over your heart, and all these people is in there doing it. Except for who? Me. So I'm sitting there, and all these people is singing this thing and got their hand over their heart and they feeling it. Ask the lady singing it. It was a pressure on me to just, man, stop being an eyeball all the time. Just stand up. You ain't got to sing it. Just these people looking at you strange because you're not singing it. But I've been an oddball all life. I ain't never fit in nowhere. So this ain't nothing new for me. But at the moment, I felt the pressure. Just do it. You know you don't mean it. But I ain't do it. I ain't get up and do it. But what about when your life depends on it? What about when your life depends on it? Will you hold fast to what you know not to do? That's the question. When your life is dependent on it. Remember, Nebuchadnezzar has been nice. Read on.
Wherefore, at that time, certain Chaldees came near and accused the Jews.
They did what?
Accused the Jews.
So right here we have certain Chaldeans which came and did what?
Accused the Jews.
They accused them. What they accuse them of? Read.
They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso fall not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the city of Babylon.
So hold that. We got them being accused of not doing something. Revelations chapter 13, verse 8.
Revelation 13:8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him.
Shall do what?
Shall worship him.
All that worship upon the earth. Read.
Whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
So is this not what Nebuchadnezzar is asking them? Everybody that can hear this and that's in the quote unquote civilized world, fall down and bow to the image. Read.
If any man hath an ear, let him hear. He that lead into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. He that is patient and faith, here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake like a dragon.
He did what?
He spake like a dragon.
He spake like a dragon. So what is this voice showing you? Even
Powerful
though he
voice.
looks like a lamb, he is what?
The dragon, the evil.
He's evil. So the words, you got to listen to the words and stop paying attention to the nonsense. Get Revelations chapter 12. Hold on one sec. Revelations chapter 12, verse 9.
Revelation 12:9.
Because it says that the Chaldeans came and accused them. Read.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world.
Which do what?
Deceived the whole world.
Read.
He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in Shamaim, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our Elohim, and the power of his Mashiach. For the accuser.
For the who?
For the accuser.
Didn't the Chaldeans do what to them?
Accuse the Jews.
They accused them. Read.
The accuser of our brethren is cast down.
He is what?
Is cast down.
Read.
Which accused them before our Elohim day and night.
So every day he was accusing them. Now the Chaldeans is telling on them and accusing them of not following the decree. Right?
So at that particular moment in time, in verse 9, it said that we cast out and the angels were cast out. That means you couldn't go back and forth like it said in Job when he's able to go back and forth from the earth.
Yeah.
So he can't go back to Samaria, so he only can be on earth.
At this point right here, what we're reading right here, this ain't took place. This is when the war takes place in heaven. After that, no more. Read that last verse you just read.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in Shamaim, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our Elohim.
All right, get me Daniel chapter 3, verse 8. Again.
Daniel chapter 3 and verse 8. Wherefore at that time, certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever.
What did they just do to Nebuchadnezzar? They did what? They flattered him. Read.
O king, live forever. I'm sorry. What verse was that? I got you. You, O king, have made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso fall not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon.
He did what to him?
There are certain Jews whom you set over the affairs of the province of Babylon.
That's us in the high places. Read.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded you.
They what?
These men, O king, have not regarded you.
Read.
They serve not your gods.
They do what?
They serve not your gods.
Read.
Nor worship the golden image which you have set up.
Read.
Then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage.
In his what?
In his rage.
So all of a sudden, he goes from nice Nebuchadnezzar to what? To he's enraged.
That's that dragon.
It's beyond the regular mad. He is enraged. But why is he enraged at Meshach and them? Why is he so mad with them?
Because he won't worship their gods.
Because they won't do what? They won't bow to his image. But why won't they bow to his image?
They serve Elohim.
Because they do what?
They serve Elohim.
They serve Yah. Our law say don't do that. But right here, he becomes enraged. This is a picture of something. Hold that, get Revelations chapter 12, verse 17.
Revelations 12:17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
He was what?
Wroth with the woman.
Why is he wroth with the woman? Read.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Elohim.
Which do what?
Keep the commandments of Elohim.
Which would not bow down to the image or make anything. So he's mad at them because they are keeping Yah's law. Bow to the knee. Daniel 3:14.
Daniel 3:14. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not you serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I set up?
He asked them what?
Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do you not serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if you be ready, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well,
So he's asking them, don't y'all serve my gods? Aren't you going to fall down and worship the image which I have made? Remember, the commandments are what's actually under attack. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 and 2 again.
Exodus chapter 20 at verse 1. And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah your Elohim, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me.
You shall what?
Have no other gods before me.
So you don't make a God, you're going to have nobody before me, and what else?
You shall not make unto you any graven image, or any likeness of that which is in Shamayim above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them.
Why?
For I, Yahuwah, Elohim, is a jealous Elohim.
So how do you get the mark of the beast?
Worshiping the idol.
Breaking his law. Forget what it is. You get it when you break his laws. So if you do these things, don't worry about, oh my God, they about to come and put something in my hand. Don't worry about that. If you break his commandments, you got what? You got the mark of the beast. It's that simple. Can y'all see this? So don't worry about, oh my God, it's a RFID chip. Oh, it's the shot. It's this. If you bow down and worship these things or break any of these ones, you got it. Read that last verse again.
You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make unto you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in Shamayim above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahuwah your Elohim, is a jealous Elohim.
He's what?
A jealous Elohim.
He's a jealous Elohim. So when a man, let's look at it in regular terms, when a regular man finds his wife committing adultery, what is most likely to happen in this situation?
It's murder.
And in your rage, what is most likely to happen?
It's murder. Holla, holla.
Somebody more than likely going to die in this situation. So Nebuchadnezzar, even though it don't seem like it's a hard thing, because he not saying, I want y'all to come and burn your kids to me. I want you to come and disrespect your mother and your father. I want you to do this. All I want you to do is bow down, which don't seem like that bad until you weigh it against the commandments. It's terrible. And he's trying to cause them to do these things. Go back to Daniel. Pick it up at verse 15. Daniel 3:15.
brought y'all into my house. I promoted y'all.
That's why I think he was so pissed, because he like,
Absolutely.
y'all getting y'all a position.
Daniel 3, and you said 17?
Verse 15.
Verse 15. Now, if you be ready, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the image that I have made. Well, but if you worship not, you shall be cast that same hour into the midst of the burning furnace. And who is that Elohim that's going to deliver you out of my hand?
He say, what?
Who is that Elohim that's going to deliver you out of my hand?
So he's so puffed up at this moment. He says, who is the God that's going to deliver you out of my hand? Now he all the way on 10 right now. He say, can't nobody deliver you out of my hand, boy. I'm the guy. This is, he feel in his heart. We're going to see this repeated somewhere. Get 2 Kings 18, verse 27. This King Sennacherib, however you say his name.
2 Kings 18,
Verse 27.
verse 27. But Rabshakeh said unto them, hath my master sent me to your master and to you to speak these words? Have he not sent me to the men which sit on the wall, that they may eat their own dung and drink their own piss with you? Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Jews' language, and spake, saying, Shema, the words of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus saith the king, let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you out of his hands.
So they saying, don't let Hezekiah fool you. Nobody can stand up to the king. Nobody. Don't let Hezekiah get y'all killed. Be the same thing. Don't let them chosen seed niggas get you killed, because they God can't do nothing with our God. But we're going to see something. Keep reading.
Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahuwah, saying, Yahuwah will deliver us. Yahuwah going to deliver us. And this city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. Listen not to Hezekiah, for thus saith the king of Assyria, make an agreement with me. Buy a present. Come out to me. Then eat every man of his own vine, every one his own fig tree. Drink you every one the waters of his own cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own.
To what?
To a land like your own.
Notice what this king is promising. He's giving you blessings and telling you, don't trust in Yah, but trust in me. Read.
A land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of oil, a land of olive oil. Oil olive, and of honey, that you may live and not die.
And do what?
You shall not surely die. And hearken not unto Hezekiah when he persuades you, saying, Yahuwah will deliver us. Have any of the gods of the nations delivered at all?
Have what?
Have any of the gods of the nations.
So this king is saying, this spokesman for the king is saying, none of these other places that I took down, they gods couldn't do nothing with me. So what make you think the king of Israel or Yah can do against me? Don't let Hezekiah get you killed. Read.
All his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria. Where are the gods of Hamath? Or Arphad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim, Henna, Avah? Have they delivered Samaria out of my hand? No. Who are they among all the gods of the countries that have delivered their countries out of my hand? And Yahuwah gonna do something different?
And what?
And Yahuwah gonna deliver Jerusalem out of my hand?
This is the same feeling that Nebuchadnezzar feels right now. Who can deliver you out of my hand? But why does he feel like that? Let's get Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 15.
Jeremiah 25:15.
And who set Nebuchadnezzar up anyway?
Yahuwah.
Yah did. So why does he feel like this? Read.
For thus saith Yahuwah, Elohim of Israel, unto me, take the wine of this fury at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send you to drink it, and they shall drink it, and be moved and be mad, because of the sword that I will bring among them. Then took I the cup of Yahuwah's hand, and made all the nations to drink, unto whom Yahuwah has sent me, to wit Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, and the kings thereof, and the princes thereof, to make them a desolation, an astonishment, and hissing, and a curse, as it is this day. Pharaoh king of Egypt, and his servants, and his princes, and all his people, and all the mingled people, and all the kings of the land of Uz, and all the kings of the land of the Philistines, Ashkelon, Azah, Ekron, the remnant of Ashdod, Edom, Moab, the children of Ammon, all the kings of Tyrus, and all the kings of Zidon, and the kings of the isles which are beyond the sea, Dedan, Tema, Booz, and all that are in the uttermost corners, all the kings of Arabia, all the kings of the mingled people that dwell in the desert, and all the kings of Zimri, and the kings of Elam, and the kings of the Medes, all the kings of the north, far and near, one with another, all the kingdoms of the world, which are upon the face of the earth, and the king of Shishak shall drink after them. Therefore you shall say to them, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, drink up and be drunk, spew and fall and rise no more, because the sword which I shall send among you, and it shall be, if they refuse to take the cup at your hand to drink, then shall you say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, you shall certainly drink. For lo, I began to bring evil on the city which is called by my name. And should you be utterly unpunished, you shall not be unpunished. For I'll call for a sword upon the inhabitants of the earth, saith Yahuwah of hosts. Therefore prophesy you against them, and all these words, and say unto them, Yahuwah shall roar from on high, and utter his voice from his Kodesh habitation.
What verse you at?
This verse 30.
Read.
He shall mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout, and they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth.
So Yah is the one who set Nebuchadnezzar up to do everything that he's doing, to go through and smash all these people out. But he's thinking it's coming from where? He's thinking it's coming from himself. He has gotten puffed up with pride, and he thinking that he is the one that does this. Mashiach is called the king of what? I'm asking the people, y'all acting like king of what? He's called the King of Kings, right? Get me Ezekiel 26, verse 7.
Ezekiel 26 and 7. For thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, behold, I will bring upon Tyrus Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, a king of kings.
He's what?
A king of kings.
So right here, he's called a what?
King of kings.
The King of Kings. Also, he called Nebuchadnezzar my what? My anointed in one spot. So this person that comes is going to sit in the tabernacle, set something up in the north of it, where the blessings and the salvation is supposed to come from, and the people are going to go to it and confess to the image and bow down to the image. And then you will have broken Yah's commandments. And you will have received what? The mark of the beast. Y'all see how it works? It don't work in the way that you probably been thinking in your mind. Because dude is very, very slick. But if you don't know Yah's commandments and his laws, you are going to receive the mark of the beast, and you can sum the whole Bible up with one word: worship. The adversary wants to be worshiped, and Yah wants to be worshiped. Which one do you rock with? Remember, gonna be nice and appeal to your senses and give you stuff, right? He tried to offer Mashiach the kingdom without dying, right? Then he flipped and it says, try to get in his pride. If you be the son of Elohim, what do you mean, if I be the son of Elohim? You know this is who I am. So try to get him to be proud and come after him. Then he said, you know what? I'll give you all the world. Just fall down and worship me. And if Mashiach would have just fell down and worshiped him, what would Mashiach have received? The mark of the beast. Again, stop worrying about what it is. Worry about how not to get it. If you break the 10, you got it. Is that clear? And with that, we say shalom. This court is adjourned.
Questions, comments, concerns. You like it? You love it? You hate it? Teach another part next week on the next commandment. Teach another part? I said teach another part. No, go ahead. And this is actually the opposite. Yeah. Right. Is there another? We got.
It's basically showing idolatry, and I can't prove this, but I believe at the end, the Antichrist is going to be so full of himself that he's going to have like action figures of himself that the people is going to have in their house, like, and made out of silver and gold. So when we read that thing about in Revelation, he says, and they which repented not of the works of their hands, the work of the silver and the gold, and we see what the silver and gold was made. It was made in the image of men. We see that Absalom set up an image of himself. And we see all the people loved Absalom and ran after him and worshiped him. They were coming to him as opposed to David. Shale, go deeper into your question.
So basically you had an idol that was created that looked like a man. It was made of wood, for what we was reading about in Jeremiah. They created it, they carved it out, it was made of wood, and they decked it out with silver and gold. So they put silver and gold ornaments all over it, but he's saying it can't talk, it can't walk, it can't hear, it can't do evil, it can't do good. So it looked like a man. It's decked out with jewelry, but it can't do nothing.
So, are you asking specifically about like when it say like when it's talking about destroying the silver and the gold, like, right? That's what I thought. So, like, if the idol had silver and gold on it, right, and it's saying like, don't destroy the idol and keep the silver and gold, like destroy it all.
So with us, so long as we ain't, if we wearing silver and gold pretty much, as long as we not, if it ain't made up, looking like, you know, we ain't
The thing is nothing. It's when you turn, this bottle is nothing. But if I turn to it and say, water is God because it gives me life, now you just did something because you referenced it and made it more than what it is. Right. So the sun has its purpose, but you're not to turn to it and worship it. These people are worshiping the idol.
And the silver and the gold that you're wearing is fine, just as long as you ain't like melt down a piece of the calf and create it with some with some gold that was covering the idol.
Yeah, because a lot of people teach that you can't wear jewelry, but that ain't true. They look at it, I think it's Isaiah 3. But if you look at Ezekiel 18, he actually tell Israel, I decked y'all out with this type of jewelry, that type of jewelry. I you know what I'm saying? I made you look good, you look fly. You know, so ain't nothing wrong with wearing jewelry.
So none of this, because the stuff is not a sin in itself. It's what you do to it that makes it a sin. So, again, he told Moses to make a brazen serpent and set it on a pole, right? He told him, when you get bit by the snake, all I want you to do is do what? Look at it. But the people started doing what? They started worshiping it. As soon as they started worshiping it, it became an idol. It became idolatry. Now I